Hello, welcome to Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc, and today I guess I'm going to talk about, well, I guess today I'm talking about video game violence. Now, since little wiggly aliens tried to invade Earth and Mario stepped on his first Goomba, we've been having video game violence since its inception. And you could argue that violence in video games is as American as apple pie, or as Japanese as squid, maybe? We're having this growing cultural question as to where violence should be, or is it a means to an end? And what a lot of people have come up with is violence should be shown for artistic or educational means. If it's shown in those ways and it's not shown in a graphic or glorifying way, then that's good. You could argue that some movies, even though they even try to make the violence fun, they're kind of glorifying the violence a little bit. And you could say that with video games. The fact that your kid, if he played Call of Duty for even the past 2 years, he has killed countless amounts of people, like countless, without it affecting them at all, without affecting their moral things. They're playing a game where they're in war. They're playing a game where people went into this, well, not nowadays, now it's all future wars, but back in the 90s it was all World War II, they even did the Vietnam War, and just killing a bunch of people, just like, well, we had to do what we had to do, you know. And some people have a problem with the fact that they're glorifying war and they're glorifying violence. And where's the artistic merit in this? Where's the educational merit in this? And if you did play some of these games, you'd be like, wow, I'm glad I didn't have to go to these wars. I can at least say that I'm glad that somebody fought in these wars for my freedoms. And that my family, I'm from a family of people who have been to the military, who have served time with the military in all different branches of the military. They weren't judged. And whenever there's ever a debate, everyone on either side of the table says, well, support our troops, because what they're doing is dangerous. Wow, this topic got extremely deep. So where does this violent, everyone outside of America saying that we have this violent culture come into video games? Well, obviously I brought up Call of Duty and parents being afraid of their kids being exposed to this violence, which is kind of vexing to me. You see, I can relate what's going on in the video game industry as to what's going on with everyone who I know, who I've known who graduated college and went on to teach. It's just like they are always putting the emphasis on the teacher. What can you do for my child? What did you do wrong with my child? What did you do right with my child? Why is my child like this? Why is my child like that? And there is far too much emphasis on the teacher. Just like in the video game industry, there's far too much emphasis on the makers of these games to control what they're doing. Now understand, we can't just be having games that are completely insane, like ones where you're just running through a school shooting up kids. That would be far too over the line. You don't want anything like that. Or I wouldn't want to see anything like that. And I wouldn't want my kids exposed, or future kids exposed, to anything like that. So I think parents need to be aware that there is something in the video games industry called the ESRB, which relates to the G to the R rating in movies industry. I also noticed that I went to the Deadpool movie, and I went there, I sat down, I'm of age to watch the Deadpool movie, and I saw some parents walk in with an 18-year-old all the way down to the elementary schooler with like, no problem. And that would have been okay if I just would have saw one family doing that. I saw a bunch of families do that. And it also would have been different if we walked out of the theater and the parents were like, ugh, I can't believe I did that. No, they were just like, whatever. We saw that movie. Had a lot of violence, a lot of cursing, and a little bit of sex. Oh, no, it had sex in it. Oh, yes, it did. But these families just weren't even affected by it. Even 10 years ago, it wasn't this bad. And so I don't even think parents care anymore about video game violence in anything, because they don't want to be like the parents before them. Oh, my parents stopped me from watching it. I'm not going to do that with my kids. Because I can personally tell you that my parents didn't want me watching horror movies. The minute I got old enough, I started watching slasher movies, and I love them. I think they're so funny and so unrealistic and fake. But to some people, they're just gore fest. They're just ridiculous. So where does the video games come in? Where does the argument come in that video games are art? And so many people are avoiding this subject. They don't even want to touch this video game or art subject because there's so many stupid, ridiculous things happening in the video game industry. So many stupid, ridiculous games made in the video game industry. And also know that video games are made to make money. So how can they be artistic if they're out to make money? But I can make the same argument with movies. I can make the same argument with TV shows. Even the best TV shows out right now. Like, I don't know, Game of Thrones, like the #1 TV show in America. They're making so much money off of this show. Breaking Bad, when it was out. So much money off of these shows with violence. Game of Thrones, a lot of nudity in that. But people laud them as these great things. And then you look at the games today and they're great. And you have people like me who've grown up playing games who can appreciate them now. And they're making games for even my age level because they understand that there is a demographic between 25 and 45 who still play video games and who appreciate them and just don't see them as this random pastime. They see them equivalent to TV, to sports, and to movies. Okay, because you can't sit there and watch TV and binge watch something for hours and then get mad at me for playing the video games, playing any video games for that amount of time. But I digress. Video games is art. I can point to a few companies that are doing it, like Quantic Dream. They're the people behind Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. And say what you will about their games, I like that company's at least trying something. They're trying something different. They're at least trying to bridge the gap between video games and movies. And they're at least try some kind of artistic expression or try to push video games to the boundaries that they've never been pushed before when it comes to performance. You have Naughty Dog. Okay, they did the Uncharted series and they did Last of Us. Last of Us is lauded as one of the greatest games of all time because of its story. And people don't say that Last of Us is a good game because of its violence. There's no sexual anything in that game, but there is violence in that game. And that's not what people say when they talk about Last of Us. They go, oh, it's a good game because I just killed so many people in this totally awesome way. No, they like it because of the story. The story is so engaging. It's basically like a well-done Walking Dead episode or a series of episodes. And then you have a development company that I think is making art, and it's called That Game Company, where you play as a pedal and you're just flying in the wind, and that's the whole game. Play a game called Journey, where the goal is to work together with a total stranger that you don't know, going from quest to quest to quest. And it blew my mind, Journey and Flower both. I had an emotional response playing those games because it wasn't about the violence, and it did something in a video game that I wasn't expecting. It took a game and it said, well, just go at your speed, go at your pace, but just go. And I did. Both games made me reflective and made me, I don't know, it's almost hard to explain, but they're great games, and art makes you think. Art makes you think past the time that you've seen the art. And with video games, that has definitely happened. And you have video game companies like Nintendo that are just focused on the fun. And you have, game companies like Call of Duty that are just like all about the money if people are willing to kill. Or games like Madden NFL, if people are willing to play sports on games, well, we're just going to keep dishing them out from year to year to year to year. I don't know. What do you think? Did anything I say make sense? Was it all just a jumbling mess because I just watched a violent movie and wanted to talk about violence in video games? I don't know. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you like what you've seen here. Thank you for watching Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc, and remember that this was just my opinion.